Hello painters, we're going to be drawing a botanical study of flowers and we're going to put them into a bouquet. And so here you see some sketches I've made. Here's how I like to draw flowers. Well, okay, that's not how I draw flowers. So here's how I draw flowers. First of all, I have a reference and I like to start with a circle and put it inside the circle, and then I would erase that circle later, just leaving the flower. But you can see here I've done different perspectives of the flower. The more detail you put in, the better. So now I'm going to draw some leaves and stems, and you can see the leaves are kind of furry on a daisy. Here's a little poppy that kind of is a floppy poppy, and here I'm doing a little lily, which is a star shape, and the curvier and less perfect you make it, the better it looks. Here I'm doing a different angle of the lily. And then here's just another kind of little flower with some petals. And then I'm going in, putting detail on my little sketches. Okay, so then after this, we're going to draw a bouquet. So for a bouquet, you want to have the star of the show. It could be a lily, whatever, but it's got to be something that is the focal point of your bouquet. And then you want to keep your work in groups of 3 or 1 because it's a more interesting compositional number. So here I'm just doing another sketch, laying it out, drawing my different flowers that I want, and I've got 2 of the same flower there. Now I'm putting in matching flowers, making it groupings of 3 or more. Okay, then I am filling it in with some little dainty little flowers in groups of 3. Then I'm finishing it up with some greenery like some ferns. All right, so this is my sketch. Now I'm going to do a watering can. Watering can is a 3-dimensional object, so I want to do ellipses, which are ovals, and I want to draw roundish lines. Then I'm putting on a C-shaped handle, a little spout. This is not what to do. Straight lines totally ruin the effect. You want curved lines on your watering cans to show roundness. So now I'm going to be laying out a composition on my watercolor paper. So here's a few compositions some kids have made, and now I'm going to go over those compositions with my permanent marker. So this is a permanent marker, not a water-based marker, because we're going to watercolor this, so we want a permanent marker. You want to erase your pencil lines after you're done, and then you start applying a wash. Here's how to care for your watercolor tray. You want to run the mixing tray under the water. Rub your finger on it to get that color off of it so it's clean for your next color or the next kid that uses this. And then you want to set it open to dry. We never shut wet watercolors. So going back to my painting, I'm going to be applying washes of color. So what that means is I'm applying a watery beginning, and then I'm gradually getting darker and darker colors on top of it, leaving those lighter colors still showing. Watercolor is a layering media, which means you don't paint it all at once. You put a layer on, let it dry a little, put another layer on, and so here you can see I'm working on my flowers. And I have a lot of water in my mixing tray, and my colors are really diluted. So here you can see I'm just putting in some very light tones in different areas, getting a base layer established of the color. And then pretty soon here I'm going to mix up some yellow that's going to be for my daylily that is way darker because it has less water in it. And then you'll notice also I have a wet area of yellow, so I'm dropping in some reds and I'm letting them bleed inside, creating a mingled wash effect. So now I'm going back I'm going over some flowers, leaving some of those light areas, not covering it totally. I want to leave the light. That's part of watercolor, not covering it completely, leaving some light areas. And I'm just continuing to build on area by area, mixing in my mixing tray, building the colors up. So I've gotten a green base on my leaves, and now I'm mixing one of my favorite colors. I'm mixing the green with a little bit of purple in it, and that's giving me more of an earthier green, more of a darker green. I'm also going into my daylily and I'm putting little dots on it, and because my paper is dry there, they are staying exactly where I put them. So I'm just going to leave those there to dry, and I'm going to go back and work on other stuff while that's drying, increasing my intensity of color in the different flowers that I have in my bouquet. Now in the negative space around my flowers, I want to fill it in with some dark green just to create depth in my bouquet. I don't want to have white spaces around my flowers because it's kind of dark in there. You know, when you have a bouquet, there's lots of flowers and you don't have a lot of light shining through it. And then I'm moving into my ferns and just putting more of that dark green purplish color in there to add a dark tone to it, but not too much. And then continuing on to my foliage, putting that dark purple green color in there, hitting the negative spaces around those little flowers at the bottom. I'm just constantly assessing what I'm painting, what do I need to increase as far as color goes with less water. So now my painting is more dry, and so now I'm going in and I'm doing the water can. So again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm starting with a very light wash, and then I'm adding darker and darker washes on top of it. Again, leaving some of that light showing. I don't want to cover all my light up. And I'm letting a little bit of the can be left totally white because that might be where the shine is on the watering can. I'm just continuing to build my colors up, but leaving some of those light areas underneath the dark areas. So now I've kind of got my watering can to a point where I just want to let it dry, and I'm going back in and increasing my tones in my negative space in my still life even farther. And now that my little spots on my lily are done, I'm going to be coming in and putting a little bit of tone in the bottoms of them. And had I not waited, all those little spots would have blurred, and I didn't want that. So I waited on that. And now I'm going to address the background. So for the background, I would recommend you do a wash technique where you put clear water down first, and then you just drop in color on the water and you let the water take it. So I'm just putting water in one little part at a time, because if you try to do the whole thing, it's going to dry and it won't work. So you just do it a little bit at a time, drop in the color, and then you have a nice washed effect for your background. Now I'm going to do the foreground, the table that my pot is sitting on, and I'm putting a little bit of a shadow on it. And one technique that I wanted you to see that I do is I will take my paintbrush and I will squeeze out the water that's in my paintbrush, and then I will just place it on the painting to soak up pools of water or areas where the color hasn't done exactly what I wanted it to do, and it kind of gives me a little bit of a restart. So that's called mopping up, I believe. So anyway, there is my watercolor all done. I hope you enjoyed doing this. I know I enjoyed painting it. Thanks for watching.